We are going in depth this afternoon on a push to do more business with Canada. About 70 local officials recently made a trip to Toronto, including representatives of 9 Bay Area businesses. This is Tampa Mayor Bob Buckhorn on that trip. St. Petersburg Mayor Rick Kreisman also went along. The goal of that 4-day mission to boost business exports and help build political and business relationships between the two nations. In depth now with 2 economic development representatives to learn more about that trip. Joining me right now, I have Mike Meidel, who is the director of the Pinellas County Economic Development Corporation, and J.P. DuBuque, who is the interim CEO and president of the Tampa Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. You just got back from Canada on an export mission, and when I first thought about a trade mission to Canada, I kind of went, to Canada? J.P., why Canada?
Well, Canada is the United States' #1 trading partner, and it's Tampa Bay's #1 trading partner. It's also the #1 tourist market for Tampa Bay, coming in from Canada. Also, they have a wonderful film and digital media industry up there that we went to take a look at to see how they do it.
Mike, I'm really curious because you're working together with Hillsborough County. So when you go up and present a united front, does that really help in terms of negotiating or people thinking about, well, I want to move to Tampa Bay, but what that exactly might mean?
Oh, absolutely. Toronto market is 6.9 million people, and if we go up there saying we're only just under 1 million in Pinellas County, we don't get the attention we would have when we take a look at the entire Tampa Bay area. The broader area is 4.3 million people within the drive time, so it makes a huge difference in the market that we're able to address.
So, JP, who went along with you? And I know that you represent these development councils or corporations, or whatever you want to call them. Who went along with you as well to give you maybe a little bit more clout?
Sure. In addition to Mike and myself, which I hope have enough clout, but we took Mayor Bob Buckhorn from the city of Tampa, Mayor Rick Kreisman from the city of St. Pete, Commissioner Charlie Justice from Pinellas County, and Commissioner Al Higginbotham from Hillsborough County.
Now, I know that people are always big on numbers. How do you know that these, in quotes, trade missions work? I mean, will you know a year from now, 2 years from now? Or is this just about shaking hands, seeing people eye to eye and letting them know who you are?
Well, it's a little bit of both. The important thing really is to get those export sales. We're trying to help our companies to grow their sales and therefore be able to grow their workforce, grow their production lines, and grow the amount of money they're able to bring into the economy. But we do that through the connections we make through the U.S. Commercial Service, the consulate system around the world. And they are able to set up appointments for our companies to meet directly, face-to-face, with companies that might buy their product. We had 2 companies that, one company that got on the vendor list of a major corporation up there, and by the time he got back to the Tampa airport, he had 6 orders on the phone for his parts. So another company is met with 8 different potential buyers in the Toronto area and is very excited with the leads he's generated. So we expect some sales to happen quickly.
Now, JP, while you were up there, we have this local team as well called the Toronto Blue Jays, Dunedin Blue Jays. Unfortunately, didn't make it all the way. Were they playing while you were up there?
They did play. While we were up there, they actually played 3 games, and we take credit for them winning 2 of those 3 games while we were there.
Now, so tell me more about the kind of products that we are exporting to Toronto and to Canada specifically. I mean, what do we have in this area that we make that Canada is really interested in?
Well, medical devices is one of the biggest, and that was one of the companies that was so successful right off the bat. The Canadian health system is such that oftentimes they'll come down here for health and for procedures. They'll also love the Made in America label for medical devices, whether they're implantable or external devices. And we've got a great center for the production of those devices in Tampa Bay.
And I know that I know several doctors in the area that do cosmetic surgery, and they tell me that basically November through March, that most of the people that book in to them for their procedures, which are not mandatory, are people from Canada.
Absolutely. There's a lot of folks that snowbird down here, and one day less than six months, and they're here to enjoy our weather, but also to take advantage of the healthcare resources that are available throughout Tampa Bay.
Now, JP, tell me a little bit more about how this actually works when you get there. Like, do you set up displays? Do you set up one-on-one meetings? I know that you took 70 people in a delegation, so it's kind of hard to believe that you can have, in quotes, intimate conversations when you have 70 people.
Well, we actually have 3 different tracks. One of the tracks is a delegate track, and that's the track where the mayors meet with the other mayors, with the ministers, and the government officials up there, the community leaders, trying to create relationships in general. We also have the Gold Key service, which is set up, as Mike said, through the U.S. Commercial Service, and they actually have one-on-one meetings with pre-qualified potential purchasers of their products or services. And the third track is what we call FDI, or foreign direct investment. And we met with companies who are considering expansion or relocation into the U.S. market, and our sell to them is come to Tampa Bay.
And Jeff Vinnick says, yeah, come on and make your national headquarters right down here in Tampa. Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be very nice. Actually, Mr. Vinnick joined us for a portion of the event. He joined us for a luncheon at the Hockey Hall of Fame, which was interesting to have Mr. Vinnick there. And he talked about his project in downtown Tampa, but also mentioned that it's just one of the many exciting projects that we have going on throughout Tampa Bay.
When you go on these missions, do you sign any agreements? And particularly I'm thinking about tax incentives. We know that Governor Rick Scott is always touting about how we can give so many tax incentives because it draws more companies there. Do you have any power to do any of that kind of thing?
Well, what we do in this early stage of the process, especially with foreign direct investment, we're dealing with companies that initially will be down here opening a sales office of 2 to 3 people, maybe a product support center of 20 people or more, and it's just a foot in the door, and we want to get them used to being here and build their markets, and then eventually bring down distribution centers, maybe production facilities for IT companies, actually bring the software production down here. But this is just an early stage and tend to be privately held companies. We have the ability to at least introduce the concept of incentives, but it's really just that initial contact and the ability to interest them in coming down and taking a closer look.
Yeah, and if you're going to talk about films, you know that a lot of tax incentives that we had been getting in the past, this year the legislature in their infinite wisdom did not choose to give us as many incentives. Does that hurt us when we're trying to compete, well, in reality, with cities like Toronto or other places to make their feature films?
I think it does hurt us. Toronto has had 40 years of a government-sponsored program that was designed to build the film and digital media industry up there. And now they have, the Tampa International Film Festival, which is, by some accounts, one of the greatest in the world. And our delegates got a chance to see what that looks like and what it could look like if we were to experience something similar to that down here.
Well, and you also have the Canadian Film Board, which is known worldwide for everything that they do. So what's the next step in all of this? Wait for the phones to ring?
Well, actually, we'll continue to follow up with the companies that made those visits and help them and connect them through our Small Business Development Center, through the Enterprise Florida international offices, through our own the U.S. Commercial Service directors that are here in the Tampa Bay area. And now, starting in mid-November, SBA will have a small business export finance specialist right here in the Tampa Bay area. So we've got a whole network of people that can help make those sales happen, help make it smoother, help lines of credit, legal issues, and so on. And that's the next step, is just making all these deals happen.
All right, Mike Meidel and JP DuBuque, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck in getting some more business.